I thought NXT was a good show this week. It was nice not to have a recap show for a change. We had a lot of matches, actually, including a rare win for Tyler Breeze. We had a Matt Riddle, Roderick Strong main event. The debut of a new tag team, which NXT desperately needs more of. And the arrival of Killer Kross. Sort of. Kind of. They announced that the match is scheduled for Takeover Tampa, which is no longer happening, will instead be taking place over the next few weeks on NXT television. This Wednesday, Keith Lee defends his North American title against Dominik Dijakovic and Damian Priest. Velveteen Dream is going to be taking on how much fish can Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish. Is that a thing anymore? I feel like maybe it's probably dead, right? Yeah, okay. And what they're calling a second chance gauntlet for the right to enter the women's ladder match, which I believe itself is a number one contenders match. So basically, they've rounded up all the losers, and they're going to give them a second chance to qualify for the ladder match. Dakota Kai, Xia Li, Aaliyah, Caden Carter, Shotzi Blackheart, and Deonna Purrazzo. This should be a Dakota Kai win. I mean, I was surprised when she lost a few weeks ago, so this will be her way to get into the ladder match, and they can continue the bad blood, I guess, with her and Tegan Nox. The women's ladder match will take place on the April 8th episode of NXT, as will the Tomasso Ciampa Johnny Gargano match, empty arena match, in a location to be determined by Triple H. Also, the next NXT TakeOver UK show, I guess the TakeOver Dublin show that was scheduled for April 26th has been postponed to October 25th. And that is likely where Finn Balor will have his UK title match against Walter, which I was looking forward to. And now we're going to have to wait a while before we get that match. As long as we get it. As long as we end up getting that match. Imagine if those two had to have the match in an empty building. A Walter chop. What a Walter chop would sound like in an empty building. The way it would reverberate. Could actually be fun. Tyler Breeze beat Austin Theory. Theory came out, he had a cell phone, he was mocking Tyler's entrance. And Tyler won with the beauty shot. I think the super kick, I guess he calls it the supermodel kick. I know it's just such a bastardized move at this point. It looks more effective and more brutal than the beauty shot does. It's a spinning heel kick. Didn't connect too well, but he won. A win is a win. Killian Dane beat Tehuti Miles. If you're like me, I said, who the fuck is Tehuti Miles? So I looked him up. He's a U.S. Army veteran. He did one combat tour in Afghanistan. He signed with WWE late 2018. Believe this is his first appearance on TV. And Dane won in a squash. Beat him with a Vader bomb. Cameron Grimes beat Tony Nese with his running double stomp, which really wasn't much of a stomp. I mean, he slid right off of Nese before Nese even hit the ground, but oops. Xia Li, she was to have faced Aaliyah, but they found Xia crying backstage. She was clutching her knees. She was in tears. She was practically hyperventilating. And Aaliyah's in the ring acting as if she had nothing to do with it. Oh, well, I guess that means she forfeits the match. And Greg Hamilton said, in fact, that there is another opponent who has stepped up, who is medically cleared. And it turned out to be Io Shirai, who has been out with an injury for a couple months. She made her big comeback here, killed Aaliyah in a little over a minute to advance to the number one contenders ladder match. Keith Lee came out for a promo. He admitted that he made a mistake when he struck Dominik Dijakovic and laid him out a few weeks ago. He thought it was him and not Damian Priest that had attacked him, and that brought out Dijakovic, and that brought out Damian Priest. My name will live forever. You know, he wants the champion. I thought he had the most direct explanation, the most honest, direct explanation for why he wants a shot at the North American Championship. He says, I want the title because of the money and the girls. And that's it. And you know, like, that's what every wrestler wants, right? Or at least they did. Maybe these days they want a fucking PS5 or something. But like 20, 30 years ago, they wanted two things. They wanted women and they wanted cocaine and money. So I guess those three. Well, you can't have women or cocaine without money. You need money, cocaine, and women in that order. That's the way it used to be. Damian Priest, he's just being honest. He's just an honest guy. And so the brawl, erupted, and Dijakovic took them both out on the floor with a giant dive to no reaction. So that sets up the triple threat match for next week. We had Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan beating Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. Now, we saw Thorne and Vink lose to the Street Profits on Raw Monday night. They lost here again. They're a team, I guess, on the way up. They're a new team, relatively new team they've just put together. Vink is in a relationship with Dakota Kai. I was wondering, where do I know this guy from? He looks familiar to me, and I looked him up and I saw the name Elliot Sexton, and I said, that's where I knew him from. There's a whole series of YouTube videos. I don't think Dakota was in them. I think she was shooting them of Sexton. Of course, now he's got a new name. He's a charismatic guy. You know, here he was acting all arrogant and cocky, and look where it got him. It got him in the loss column. Candice LeRae, she advanced to the women's ladder match with a win over Caden Carter. Matt Riddle, he pinned Roderick Strong with the Bro Derek when all of a sudden he was attacked from behind by two giant Indian men, Saurav Gurjar and Rinku Singh, who were never identified, but that's who they were. Gurjar worked for TNA's, remember TNA's old Ring Ka King promotion in India? He was part of that. Singh, he used to play baseball. He was once an Indian reality show star on a show called $1 Million Arm. And he had a 5-year stint in the minor leagues in baseball. He played in the minor league system for the Pittsburgh Pirates for a while. He even had a 2.79 earned run average. I think the Mets could use him. So they laid out Riddle. Out comes Malcolm Bivens, making his NXT television debut as their new manager, the former Stokely Hathaway, he's been signed for a while. I feel like they've had him under contract for a couple years now. Finally now is on TV, so it was good to see him. And the NXT tag team division badly needs an infusion of new teams. I haven't seen these guys work yet. I have no idea if they're any good or not. We're going to find out soon enough. I don't know what Pete Dunne's situation is. From what I understand, Matt Riddle was on social media teasing wanting to be Roman Reigns' replacement against Bill Goldberg, and was saying that for now his team is on ice because his partner is overseas. So my understanding was that Pete Dunne had recently moved. He had moved to the U.S. It's possible with everything going on, maybe he just moved back home. Now he can't come back here. You know, he's going to be stuck there for a while. So I don't know if he's in the UK or if he's down in Florida. I have no idea. But Riddle made it sound like he ain't here. And if he's not here now, he probably won't be able to come back for a while. We had Papa H. He took to the ring to talk about the bad blood between Johnny Gargano and Tomasso Ciampa when Ciampa interrupted him. Triple H then asked Johnny to come on down, and Gargano refused to get into the ring, and Triple H said, look, I saved both of your jobs because if it was up to William Regal, he would have fired you after that brawl that they had at the PC. Get your ass in the ring. Just make sure you don't touch him. And Gargano said, don't touch me. He said, this feud has gone on long enough. And he goes, it's got to be settled on the grandest stage. I hate that phrase, by the way. Can we stop with the grandest? There is no grandest stage this year. The grandest stage is shut down. Just like every other frickin' place. Enough with the grandest stage bullshit. And Gargano did cut him off. He said, we don't need the grandest stage. He said, you know, this was supposed to end last year. The Ciampa went and broke his neck. He goes, my only regret is I wish it would have been me that would have broken your neck. Which is not very nice to say. Ciampa agreed. He said, this feud needs to end. And Gargano said, we don't need any of that. We don't need any pomp and circumstance. We don't need the grandest stage. All we need is a ring, a referee, and a camera. And Triple H said, if that's what you want? He goes, how long? When do you want to do it? How long? Gargano said, 2 weeks. Triple H said, fine. I'm going to find a building. I'm going to find an empty building, and in 2 weeks, you two guys are going to settle this once and for all, and that's going to be the end of it. Because if it isn't, if this continues on beyond 2 weeks, you're both out of here. So it sounds like we're finally going to resolve this feud once and for all. We're going to get the big blow off. We didn't get it in New York and Takeover last year because Ciampa got hurt. Now all of this happens. It felt like this thing was snake bitten, but now we're going to get the finale to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in 2 weeks. And before the show ended, all of a sudden they're all in the ring. All three guys are in the ring, and there's an interruption up on the video screen. and we see a video very similar to the one that we've seen flashing on TV the last few weeks. This time we got our first very brief glimpse in the video of Killer Kross. So it is Killer Kross who is coming in to NXT. And I guess the only question is, who's he feuding with? I'd vault him right into the main event position. So I would guess that either he could potentially play a role in the finish of Gargano and Ciampa, or whoever wins Gargano and Ciampa, I would guess it would be Ciampa. Maybe then Kross appears, and his first feud is to go after Tomasso Ciampa. That'd be my guess. Unless you want to start him lower on the card. Have him challenging for the North American title after a while. Go after Keith Lee or somebody. But I would start him right from the very top. You know, what else is Gargano or Ciampa going to do once they finally end this in 2 weeks? They split off. You know, Ciampa's the babyface. Let's say Kross comes in as the heel. Where does Ciampa even go? I would have to think that Adam Cole is going to be working with Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream may take the title from Adam Cole once they have that match. What else is there? Other than slotting somebody like Kross in there for a new feud. So I thought this was a strong effort from NXT this week. Better than, obviously, the last few weeks for obvious reasons. Last week was mostly just a recap show. So this was a nice little rebound for them. And apparently they've taped the next several weeks of television. So at least the next 2 or 3 weeks of NXT TV is already in the can. It's already taken care of. And we'll get that Gargano and Ciampa payoff in 2 weeks.